Now you're going to be interviewed by the media. And we're going to begin this question with Mr. Wrights. This is Wolf Blitzer at CNN. And you know what? There are a lot of people out there who don't have a job. This economy is horrible, and everyone has an answer to how to help this and help people get jobs. I want to hear what your answer is to that.
Well, that's a good question. And I've found through research that the best way that the President of the United States can create jobs is to start firing people. Yeah, I know it sounds kind of silly, but it's true. Now, Dr. Ruart's done the research. It's outlined in her wonderful book, Healing Our World. For every bureaucrat, for every regulator that loses their job, 150 private sector jobs are created. So I'm just going to see how many private sector jobs I can create. You're fired, you're fired, you're fired, 150, 150. Otherwise, the only thing the president can do to create jobs is to get government out of the way. The president's job is not to create jobs. My job as president is going to be putting as many bureaucrats out of work as I can. So my mission is to raise the unemployment in the District of Columbia quite a bit.
Before Mr. Still speaks, I need to explain to the candidates that we are still recording for the video. And so if you would, some of you put down there's a second microphone that goes up and down, and some of you put it down when I announced that we're having problems. If you'd bring that back up, it would help with the recording.
This isn't a microphone, it's a light.
Make sure. Right.
Yeah, it's a light.
Okay.
I thought it was too, but it's not.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Still.
Okay, well, sorry to sound like a broken record, but without monetary reform, we have no chance of successfully bringing jobs back to this country. Do you know how much the trade deficit is? Does anyone know what last month's trade deficit was? $48 billion in a month. That's $500 billion per year. That's a hole in the bottom of the bathtub continuously draining. Does anybody know what the interest payments alone on the national debt are per annum this year? Another $500 billion. And according to the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, by 2020, that will exceed $1 trillion. This is a totally unsustainable path. We can't have $1.5 trillion off the bottom and be able to say that we're going to continue to create jobs. We have to solve those two problems right away.
Mr. Harris.
Right off, I do agree with Bill on the unsoundness of our monetary policy being a very central piece of this puzzle, and getting control of our monetary policy, restoring an Article 1, Section 8 constitutional currency is paramount to helping us restore our economy and our jobs. But I would also respond that it is most certainly not to continue some type of stimulus program, which the president has been pushing, another $500 billion or so in stimulus. And I would just say that if that was what was going to fix the problem, then the $15 trillion we're already in debt, we would have nobody out of work. But clearly, we all know that this artificial, creation of money or these stimulus packages, they don't work. They don't create jobs. What does create jobs, as Mr. Pearson has pointed out, is small business. And we need to get the federal government out of the way. We need to get the federal government to stop spending money that it doesn't have, and we need to get the federal government to stop impoverishing our children, and also to reduce the regulations so that way small business can rise up and put America back to work.
Mr. Pearson.
I represent small business. That's all that I represent. And small business can't hire because today, since internet, it's too technical for me to hire somebody out of college. They don't know what they're doing. It doesn't help me at all if somebody comes to me as a history major. I need to have people who are trained in technology. And with the colleges and universities and high schools at the last year should be training people like that. It only costs $1,000 a year to give a good postgraduate type course, and I know because I created the paralegal field. We should train these people, and we will have all the jobs in America that we want. We will be demanding that we have immigration to come in and fill the unfulfilled jobs. This is the potential. This is what we need to do, and this will solve the problem.
Mr. Johnson.
I started a one-man handyman business in Albuquerque in 1974 and grew it to become New Mexico's largest construction employer, over 1,000 employees. Early in this presidential campaign, they came out with a report on who had the best history when it came to job creation. Well, that was me. And my response to what did I do? I didn't do anything. Government doesn't create jobs, the private sector does, but I controlled all the agencies. I appointed all the boards and commissions. In essence, I controlled all rules and regulations, and they got better on a daily basis from the standpoint of taking less time and less money to have to comply with those rules and regulations. I think enacting the fair tax, zero corporate tax, zero income tax, cost neutral over a very short amount of time, I think it's the answer when it comes to our exports. I think it's the answer when it comes to tens of millions of jobs when you have a zero corporate tax rate environment. And more than anything, all this creates is certainty, something that the President of the United States can do.
Mr. Keller.
Right off the bat, I say I agree with Lee and Bill the most here. I believe that we need to get the monetary policy under control. We need to make sure that we get the banks out of the picture, and we need to get the federal government out of the way. Local, local, local is how we create jobs. It's not the federal government's job to create jobs. So, and in terms of taxes, I think we can get rid of taxes altogether. If we get the monetary sovereignty under control and we get the government size under control, what's the purpose of a tax? A tax basically is just taking back from the people what the government is supposed to be putting into circulation in the first place. So to me, it's theft. So that's what I would do. So.
Thank you.